Okay, so I just wanted to go over a few examples on using the quadratic formula. So here's my problem that I want to solve using the quadratic formula. 6x squared equals 6x minus 11. Don't forget that you have to put your equation in the standard form. So everything needs to be on one side of the equation, and it should also be set equal to 0. So in order to do that, I'm going to first subtract 6x from each side. These are actually unlike terms, so all it is 6x squared minus 6x, and that's equal to negative 11. And then you could add 11 to each side to get your equation in the standard form. Then it would be 6x squared minus 6x plus 11 is equal to 0. So now that the equation is in standard form, we could figure out the values of a, b, and c. So a is whatever is in front of x squared, in this case 6. B is whatever's in front of x, in this case negative 6. And then c is your constant, 0. So now we can start plugging those numbers into the quadratic formula. X is equal to the opposite of b. Since b is negative 6 here, then in the formula it'd be positive 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared. That's negative 6 squared minus 4 times a, which is 6. I'm just using the numbers that I listed right here, times c, which is 11. All of that's over 2 times a, which is 6. So again, we evaluate what's underneath the radical, or it's called the discriminant. So we want to evaluate all of this first. So I take 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared is positive 36. And then minus negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. And then negative 24 times 11 is negative 264. So this would be 36 minus 264 all over 2 times a. So 2 times 6 would be 12. And then if we simplify still what's underneath the radical, then 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 264 is negative 228 all over 12 still. If you try to take the square root of any negative, let alone negative 228, it'll say like something on your calculator will say something like syntax error or domain error or non-real answer. So since you cannot take the square root of a negative number, that's no real solutions, then the solutions for the entire quadratic equation would be no real solutions. Again, specifically because you cannot take the square root of a negative number. So your answer should be no real solutions, similar to when we tried to solve quadratic equations using square roots and we had to take the square root of a negative. So no real solutions. Anytime you're trying to take the square root of a negative number, whether it's solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula like we are now or any other time, it would be no real solutions.